Okay, so I just went and watched Aquaman, and it is one of the worst movies I've seen, like, ever. When I went into the movie, I wasn't expecting much. All I wanted was, a dumb action superhero movie. I wasn't expecting much from the DC lineup, so, I kind of turned off my brain for a majority of it. But this movie was just so bad in all levels of filmmaking. The acting's horrible, the writing's god awful, the cinematography is just ugly, along with the color grading and everything. It's just so ugh. It was directed by James Wan, the same guy who directed the first Saw movie and has been producing them ever since. This guy obviously knows how to direct horror, so it's weird that he would have chosen him for an Aquaman movie. I would have thought they would have chosen someone better for a dumb action movie. That's not saying the action in this movie is bad. It's actually probably the best thing of the movie. There's one thing I can commemorate all the DC movies on doing well is that the action is coherent. Unlike the Marvel movies where there's heaps of quick cuts, with the DC movies you actually feel like the punches are landing and you feel the impact of it. Overall, the film is just so forgettable. I saw it yesterday and I've already forgotten like almost all of it. I'm just struggling to kind of piece together the things I saw. The writing overall is just god awful. It didn't make any sense. There were pointless B plots that didn't go anywhere. Characters that didn't do anything were just kind of thrown in for no reason. Okay, so from now on we're going into spoiler territory, so if for some reason you don't want Aquaman spoiled for you, here's the time code for when I stop talking about spoilers, so yeah. Overall, the film's writing was just god-awful. There was no real sense that there were any stakes. There was no consequence to any of the actions that the characters had. Towards the end of the film, there's this pointless kind of randomly thrown in war with crab people. The guy who's ruling Atlantis decides to go to war with these crab people because they're not helping invade the surface, I think. I tried to pay attention most of the film, and even I couldn't piece together the plot. I went and saw this movie with my 3 other friends, Spencer, Sky, and Donya, and I asked them on the train home what they thought of the movie. What did you think of Aquaman 2019?
I saw it. No, the music was not bad, but it was not really anything new or exciting. Fight scenes were decent.
So you saw it twice, right?
Yeah, the second was a lot worse. At first I'm like, oh, too bad, I've done worse, and then...
After watching it with Hudson laughing the whole time.
Thank you. Other than that, the script was just so predictable. You knew exactly what beats the character would hit throughout the movie and exactly where they would be going. The dialogue was god-awful. There was no chemistry between Arthur and his love interest. Another thing that I found funny and absolutely stupid throughout the movie was randomly, while characters would be talking, an explosion would go off on the wall next to them or something and just interrupt. And it happens like 5 or 6 times throughout the film, and it's just so distracting and takes away from everything that might be building up, or any plot that they might be trying to expand on is just ruined with these random explosions. There's also heaps of talent on this film. It's got Willem Dafoe, Nicole Kidman, who I think are both great actors but don't do a very good job. Willem Dafoe looks like he's just sleepwalking through the whole thing, and Nicole Kidman just looks so bored and she doesn't know what film she's in. Other than that, Jason Momoa, who plays Aquaman, is not a very good actor. He's a model. Just like Jai Courtney in Suicide Squad, he doesn't do a very good job. He's just there to look sexy and hot. The film has 2 villains, one of which is Black Manta, who's actually one of my favorite DC villains, and the other is like the Prince or something of Atlantis? That's what it's called, Atlantis. See, I'm forgetting this film. It's just so forgettable. Like I said, the only thing I can really give this film props for is the action and some of the cinematography. The action is pretty decent across all the DC movies, and I mean, in this one, there are a few scenes I actually really enjoyed. There's a fight scene at the beginning where Nicole Kidman's like fighting off all these Atlantis guards, and it's all in like one take, and it looks pretty cool. And then I was like, wow, okay, maybe this film isn't going to be as bad as I thought. And then no, it just got even worse. There's one other action scene I kind of like, and it's where Aquaman and the Ranger girl are fighting on the rooftops in Italy, and it like cuts to the girl fighting these guys on the rooftop, but then like zooms out into the distance onto another rooftop where Jason Momoa is fighting Black Manta. I like that transition. It looked kind of shit, but I like the idea of it, and I want the DC movies to kind of explore cooler, you know, more like individual action scenes like that. I thought it was pretty cool. There's also this one shot in the second act where Aquaman and the girl have to like dive underwater to escape these like deep sea dwelling monsters, and they're holding a flare trying to like fend them off because they're scared of light. And as they dive down, there's this really cool like zoomed out shot of the boat and the water and them kind of diving under, and you see all the monsters kind of caving in on them. I thought that shot was cool. There's some actual good talent put into this movie, but sadly it's wasted on like a god awful film. Finally, the sound and music was just so goddamn awful. I was looking on the track list before you went to see the film, and I spotted one called Africa, and I was like, no, that can't be. And it said it was from Pitbull, and I was like, oh, you know, maybe it's something else. Film plays, they're flying over the Sahara Desert, and it plays a Pitbull cover of Africa by Toto.
Gonna take a love to drag me away from you.
They could have just used the original song. The whole joke was, oh, haha, get it, we're flying over Africa, Toto by Africa. But instead, they just used some cover song from Pitbull. You could have just used the original. Why did you have to use Mr. Worldwide? There was also this weird kind of jingle that played every time someone said anything suspenseful to Aquaman. It was like this little like, doo-doo-doo-doo. It was like a drum thing. Overall, there was just some weird sound choices that went along. There was this one point where the prince guy like placed his trident next to himself, but they made it sound like he like slammed it down, even though he just kind of placed it. I just noticed small things like that, and it just really annoyed me. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Aquaman. Overall, I would rate it a 2.5 out of 10. It's not the worst DC film I've seen. That title would go to Justice League. But just don't waste your time watching this movie. It's honestly so piss poor awful. Go see it with like your friends just to like, you know, mess around, but go on like one of those budget days. Don't waste $20 to go see this film. Anyway, I've been Mr. Craps. Thanks for watching, and I will be back to review another film shortly. Peace out.